City Council could hold a congressional-style hearing on Mayor Hancock's sexual harassment scandal if they wanted to. What was Don Meredith's old line? If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Marshall Zellinger explains why Christmas likely won't come early.
This is the city's organizational chart. We, the people, are on top, the CEO. The city council answers to us, and the city charter gives city council power on our behalf. The city council has the power to investigate any department of the city and the official acts and conduct of any officer thereof, and to compel the attendance and testimony of witnesses and the production of books and documents. That means city council has the power to demand witnesses show up in front of congressional-like hearings on these departments, except the mayor is not a department. He's on the same level as the city council. So what options do city council have to investigate the mayor? Well, city council is waiting on advice from their attorney, Kirsten Crawford, who was hired by council. However, Kirsten answers to city attorney Kristen Bronson, who was hired by Mayor Michael Hancock, who happens to be the person city council may start investigating. A source at the City and County building tells Next City Council is close to hiring an outside investigator. But investigate what? And the question members of City Council have asked is just that. Kyle, the mayor has already apologized for the text messages to the officer that was on his staff at the time, and no one else is saying, hey, there's other things out there. So the question is, what are you going to investigate? Human shruggy right now, because the former friend and other staff member who was fired and then got a settlement.
The mayor's buddy.
Yeah, they're all bound by a non-disclosure agreement, so I don't know how that plays into what you can investigate.
All right, Marshall, thank you. Any Colorado sheriff who wants to follow the Trump administration's orders on immigration was put on notice overnight when a state district court judge ruled that one county appears to be cooperating in violation of the Constitution. In granting a preliminary injunction against El Paso County, home to Colorado Springs, the judge said that the county's jail needs to stop holding certain people suspected of being in this country illegally. That jail had been holding some inmates even after they had become eligible to bond out as a courtesy to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Now those inmates must be released. This is a lawsuit that was filed by the ACLU. The practice of county jails holding inmates for federal immigration officers largely ended a few years ago in Colorado when judges began siding with the ACLU in similar cases. El Paso County had been trying a relatively new approach. This, you know, has been the fight in Denver as well, although ICE would argue that Denver has gone beyond just not assisting them to actually making it harder for them to safely arrest people for deportation. Quick note on the continuing case against Christopher Parker, the man accused of murder and attempted murder in two of northern Colorado's unsolved killings from 2015. He was in court today after being formally charged. Investigators have not tied him to the 4 other unsolved shootings. A tiny Chicano church in North Denver that's in a battle with the Archdiocese is getting some backup from the Vatican. Our Lady of Visitation was closed nearly a year ago against the wishes of its parishioners. Sonia Gutierrez brings us the story of a small church with a direct connection to the top. No, they know Federico Pena.
Any archbishop, his title is His Excellency. So it's like saying Mr. Archbishop.
To me, or you, this might just be a piece of paper.
I have goosebumps right now. I had goosebumps when I opened the letter.
To Sandy Garcia.
It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
As far as the Archdiocese of Denver knows, this is the first time the Vatican is investigating a parish closure here.
We are thrilled to know that somebody is listening.
Somebody, somewhere, is listening to them. It might be because of the fearless leaders at Our Lady of Visitation or because of Federico Pena.
Obviously.
He was the first Hispanic mayor of Denver and a cabinet member. Well, we don't know that the Vatican knows him. He knows people who know people.
He's got so many wonderful connections that have helped us have a voice.
The Denver Archdiocese is confident the Vatican is going to support the closure. For the parishioners, this letter is their only hope.
Yes. Don't say that. You scare me. But yes.
Sandy's being told it might take 5 or 6 years to hear back from the Vatican, but Kyle, I've met a lot of parishioners, and let me tell you, they have a lot of corazón.
They're thinking about holding their parish together, basically in name only, for 5 or 6 years until they get a church back open?
That's how tight they fear they are. They have about 100 members, and they all feel like they can really hold it together till then.
Interesting. All right, Sonia, thank you.
Yeah.
Our next question was raised today as we passed an A-line train crossing and wondered, why are there still crossing guards at A-line crossings where the intersections are closed? So we happened to be at Dahlia Street and Smith Road today. Noticed that there was a crossing guard in place even though he was standing right in front of a road closed sign. Turns out the Federal Railroad Administration requires that Denver Transit operators, the partner on the A-line, have attendance at all times the trains are in operation. This even includes when the roads are closed. There's no exemption there. Noel Ginsburg, a Democrat who was running for the governor of Colorado, announced today he's leaving the race. Said that after the results of the statewide caucus, in which he did not do impressively, he said it's no longer viable for him to stay in the race. On a letter on his website, he thanked supporters and staff and said that he'll fight for whomever wins the Democratic primary. No surprise that most of the state's highest paid employees across the country happen to be college football or basketball coaches. Colorado's highest paid state employee is part of that trend. CU football coach Mike McIntyre is the highest paid public employee, according to ESPN. Coach Mac made $2.8 million in 2017, according to ESPN. Compare that to what Governor Hickenlooper makes to, run the state, $90K. All right, let's do some math now. Again, not our forte, but we will try. Coach Mac's salary could pay the governor's salary 31 times over, 31 Hickenloopers to make a Mac. On a side note, Mayor Hancock's office confirmed his salary is $171,197. Yeah, that's Governor Hickenlooper peeking in there at his old salary. May I make a recommendation, point you towards something that didn't come from us but is certainly worth your time? There's a really well-written article in the New York Times that describes one woman's fall from a promising student and a beautiful dancer to life on the streets of New York. Her name was Nikisha Williams. A reporter from the New York Times, Benjamin Weiser, spent more than a year trying to figure out how Nikisha's life came unraveled. He tracked down people who knew her growing up to those who have brought her food and warm clothes on the streets of Manhattan. The article talks about her mental illness and gives new perspective for the folks who live on our streets. There's a link to the article in the next section of 9news.com. There's a gaping hole in the heart of the Rockies tonight. Dan Johnson spent decades making Salida one of Colorado's great small towns, a place of real community and care for others. The World War II veteran passed away Friday. Dan Johnson quietly built a lifetime of service to Salida when he returned from World War II, never seeking recognition, just a stronger community. The man better known for hugs than handshakes. His half-century in the grocery business as a 4-H leader, 4 decades keeping TV transmitters, bringing television over the mountain, and perhaps his best-known accomplishment, uncovering and leading the restoration of a mural that lists the name of every local who left Chaffee County for World War II. But if you ever pass the mural on F Street, don't bother looking for the name Dan Johnson. He's not listed because he didn't grow up here. He chose Salida, wrapped his arms around this small town, and quietly built a lifetime of service in the heart of the Rockies. Dan Johnson was 91. Closing a portion of a state park so animals can use it. Speaking of our tasty neighbors in nature, if you're new to fishing in Colorado or want some fresh advice, there's an app telling you what's biting where. And explaining last night's conspiracy. Technical error. Next. Denver voters approved the Green Roofs initiative over the objections of the mayor and Chamber of Commerce and a whole host of powerful interests. So now that it's passed, the city has to figure out how to make it work. So if you are into really nerdy discussions, you are welcome to sit through the 3-hour discussion hosted by a task force tomorrow morning. They're trying to figure out the best ways to achieve the goals of the Green Roofs initiative, to reduce Denver's heat island problem, where it's hotter in the city, to address the effects of climate change, to improve stormwater management, and to provide some usable green space. The ordinance passed by voters requires new rooftops on buildings larger than 25,000 square feet. Says they must be at least 20% green space. What will qualify as green space is what the task force is discussing. They'll make recommendations later this spring. El Dorado Canyon State Park in Boulder County is closing off a popular area of Rattlesnake Gulch. They're doing it for the golden eagles. The upper loop of Rattlesnake Gulch Trail, the Continental Divide Overlook, and the Continental Crag Climbing Area are all closed through July 15th or until further notice, and it's because there are golden eagles nesting on the south side of the canyon. Don't mess with them. Disturbing a nest can carry a fine of up to $5,000, 1 year in prison. Fishing licenses are available for the 2018 season, valid April of this year through March 31st of next year. There's fish out there. CPW stocks Colorado's rivers with 90 million of them every single year. And if you plan on going fishing this year and you're looking for some fresh advice or you're new to the game in Colorado, there's an app for that. The CPW fishing app. Had no idea this existed. You can search an area that you want to fish, see which fish are thought to be there, what the stream gauges are saying. You can journal your catches there as well. Looks like a cool way to get started, or maybe just explore somewhere new. We have information in the next section of 9news.com.
Hi there, I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin. Beautiful, glorious snow still falling in the Colorado high country on this, the first day of spring. Vernal equinox at 10:15 this morning, and we welcomed in spring with sunshine. Temperatures this afternoon in the mid-50s, very close to the average, and we'll go even warmer tomorrow. Winds kicking in a little bit out of the west, humidity about 27%, and temperatures are holding in the upper 40s. There's some high and mid-level clouds coming into Colorado ahead of a California storm. It's going to produce a flood threat there in some of those fire zone areas near Santa Barbara. Meantime, our storm is creating a severe weather threat off to the east of us. Hail, isolated tornadoes, a lot of wind and snow for the northeast. While Colorado sits under the influence of high pressure, we have only isolated snow showers over the higher terrain. No winter weather or travel advisories to speak of. Matter of fact, with a mix of clouds and sunshine tomorrow, a warmer day. 30 will be your low tonight. Bit windy for a few more hours. Partly sunny, 63 tomorrow, low 70s. Chance for a shower Friday, warmer weather Saturday. Chance for more showers on Sunday, and maybe a rain-snow mix along with cooler weather on Monday. Mountains have a pretty good shot at seeing healthy dose of snow by the time we hit the weekend as well. Beautiful evening in Denver, Kyle.
Next, we meet a man aiming to be a voice for a growing piece of Denver's immigrant community. We should explain what really did look like censorship on our air last night. And it's a sign that one place in Colorado has always been home to mythical creatures. Next. Colorado's Ethiopian population is 30,000 strong, about the same as the population of Wheat Ridge, Brighton, or Inglewood. And there is a radio station that broadcasts out of the Aurora Schools Administration building trying to reach this growing group.
You're listening to KETO 93.9 FM.
I mean, you can commute, you can be on the bus, you can be at home or in the office. That's what the radio is about. This is KETO 93.9 FM. We are here at KETO 93.9 FM studio in Aurora, Colorado. We are broadcasting in different languages. ክቡራትና ክቡራን አድማጮቻችን ይህ ድምጽ የሚተላለፍላችሁ እዚህ KETO 93.9 FM የሬዲዮ ማሰራጫ ጣቢያ ነው። We've been on the air since September 11, 2017. Hello. We're so glad to be the first Ethiopian run radio station in the country. You know, this is only FCC-approved Ethiopian-run radio station in the United States, and we are here in Colorado. Zimbulu sensationist, Zimbulu. I am an immigrant myself, and I have great American friends. A lot of my friends tend to see TV and listen to radio, and they think they know where I come from, but that was just a little part of they see on TV, not the whole thing. So I say, why don't start my own radio so I can show them where I come from. So that's what we'll be doing, and that's just a great opportunity, like a dream come true. You know, like I said, this is, you know, we're on air, and it's just awesome.
The station is a low-power FM station if you want to give it a listen. KETO is 93.9 FM. So I'll answer the occasional email from someone who is outraged that we refuse to cover Mayor Hancock's sexual harassment scandal. I'm guessing they hear this on talk radio. So I explain that we cover it nearly every day here, and I tell them that there's no conspiracy. So it was super awkward and conspiracy-ish when I started talking about the mayor's scandal last night and a commercial played. The mayor admitted to and apologized for sending sexually suggestive text messages to a police officer on his security detail 6 years ago.
Get ready for supercharged savings.
It's unfortunate. There are apologies for that. You should know 9 News does not censor anything that I have to say about politics. In particular, when it comes to the mayor, it appears that we are out of time for this segment. Next, a sign of just the latest tall tale to be told about one of Colorado's tallest places. Take a look at the most Colorado thing we saw today. Hey, cowboy, you forgot your boots. Kate Peltier just sent us this photo. Took it in downtown Denver this afternoon, 19th and Wazee. A metered parking space, empty, save for the boots. Perhaps somebody's in Lodo having a grand old time, bootless and fancy-free. If so, your boots are right where you left them. It's a sign spotted by next viewer Scott Trumpeter on Pikes Peak Highway, Bigfoot crossing. It reads down below there, due to sightings in the area of a creature resembling Bigfoot, this sign has been posted for your safety. Looks like a relatively new sign, but the Visitors Bureau down there says the sign was first placed on the highway in 1990. And of course, Bigfoot sightings on Pikes Peak date all the way back to the 1800s. There's always something about America's mountain that has attracted tall tales. In the 1800s, reports of a sea serpent in a lake. There was an Army private who made up a whole story about his family being attacked by giant rats, made a fake grave for a fake daughter. That went viral. It's pretty good for tourism. Send us the signs you see. Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. Tim Spence asked a good question, which is why was that tiny parish in North Denver closed by the Archdiocese? The Archdiocese said it was proximity to another Catholic church. There was one 2 miles away. They're having a priest shortage as well. Gary Buchanan says, thank you for the tribute to Dan Johnson of Salida. He was a great person in Chaffee County, and he will be missed. Craig writes in about Mayor Hancock's issue, saying, you guys can't stop. Tell me he did something other than electronically flirt. Well, Craig, if you're a boss who electronically flirts with a subordinate who feels uncomfortable, that's called sexual harassment. I hope I don't have to explain it again next time.